The Fantasy Couriers are proud to be sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. There are games for everyone and in many sports. But right now, it's best ball season. You can draft all year long. The season never ends. You can participate in a slow draft with an 8-hour clock or a fast draft with a 2-minute clock. Stay tuned for some exclusive Fantasy Couriers best ball games during the off season.
Yeah, so currently the biggest football game in town is Best Ball Mania 4. For those of you that don't know, Best Ball Mania 4 is a big best ball fantasy football tournament for the year. Last year, number 3 was the biggest tournament of all time. 500,000 entrants. That's a lot. That's a big fantasy pool right there. Prize pool of $10 million. That's a lot of money. So Best Ball Mania 4 will be with a total prize of $15 million.
So sign up now for Underdog with the fantasy code Couriers, and they will double your first deposit up to $100 cash. In case you missed that, when you make your first deposit of $10 or more, I didn't mention that before, but $10 or more, up to $100, you get $100 in free credit. Plus, I'll throw in a Fantasy Courier sticker. You sign up, I will email you Fantasy Courier swag. Oh, we got stickers now. Working on some t-shirts. You email me, I'll mail it to you. People that joined before, join one of these contests, and I'll send you a sticker as well.
$100 and a free sticker. Can't go wrong. So join Underdog today, and don't forget to use the code Couriers. A link is in the notes of the podcast. Now, on to the podcast. What is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dub. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
JJ Wang, it is June, and June means we are 3 months away from the start of real live action football, people tackling each other, people taking out each other. I am excited. I don't know if I can wait that long.
Yeah, I'm starting to watch hype videos, highlight videos. So, of course, I'll probably talk about them a little bit later. I most likely got a new addition to my top 10 top guys. Made a trade, so we'll talk about him a little bit later, let you know who that is. So pretty excited about that.
So real quickly, just everybody, as you're listening, you heard the commercial before for best ball. Apparently none of the Couriers Nation likes best ball. I've had a best ball league out. No one wants to jump on, but I also blame Facebook's algorithm as well, because you never know what pops up. So if you're interested in best ball and you can't find the link, go to our Facebook page. There's a link on there. You can hit me up. You can hit us a message. We'll get you in there. It's only $3. Let's run through a couple of this. It's something to do during the off season. We make no money off of this. If you join in, maybe we'll get a little bit of cash to get JJ Wang a work tablet to go with his phone that he's running. We'll get him a fantasy football tablet to roll him through as the league goes on. Hey, something exciting. I did just purchase my NFL Sunday ticket on my YouTube live because they're giving us $100 off, so I had to buy it early. So I'll be rocking my YouTube, whatever the TV thing's called. But I'm
not a fan of Sunday ticket. Not a fan.
It's because you don't have a team. When you have a team, that's what the Sunday ticket's for, or you got to find a channel, someone that will give you the red zone. So I get all that within the Habu, and I'm excited. Quick question before we jump into today. We're going to do a month of Dynasty. Every month for us is Dynasty. We're going to really focus in and hone in on particulars of Dynasty. Now that guys have teams, guys have locations, and the hype train is rolling on a lot of these guys. We're going to look through each.
Speaking of hype trains, I'm sure we'll talk about him at some point, but the Justin Ross hype train is about to get out of control, just so you know.
The who hype train?
The Justin Ross hype train.
Oh, I hope so. I've been on that wagon, just sitting there circling the wagons for about a year.
It's about to get out of control.
I'm sure I'll be talking about him. You know my love for Justin Ross. There will be, and I'll take a picture sometime. I'm getting ready to redo my wall. I've been doing some, Prestige Auctions, who's on like all the other podcasts. I got a Justin Ross signed picture last year when I was on the hype train, so I have him up. I have an Earl Campbell jersey I'm going to put up, and a Jason Taylor jersey, both of which are going for combined the same price as like a player who plays today jersey. So I got 2 Hall of Fame jerseys for like even less than I saw a Tua or a Tyreek Hill jersey go for. It's ridiculous how some of those costs. I'm like, Who knows? Anyway, quick question. I posted it on Facebook, but I'm blaming the algorithm because I know people read it because I see some click through, some I don't. DeAndre Hopkins. He is officially a free agent. From what I gathered, the Cardinals just didn't want to deal with his crap anymore.
I,
Where that's some
okay.
of the trade. There's a lot of stuff going on, but it sounds like they're just not want to deal. I mean, they ate a boat ton of money this year to not have him play for them, and some teams are vindictive that they'll make you play till you're dead. Other teams, but they're like, hey, we're going to eat millions of dollars not to deal with you because he's been complaining. And where does he land?
I have no idea. Like I've heard a lot of people say, he's lost his speed, but he's never been a speed guy. You talk about the complaints. I don't know. I mean, not haven't heard too much about his complaining. Of course, Arizona really doesn't care how much money they're eating because they're trying to lose anyway. They're not really trying to win. So I mean, yeah, they'll eat some cap, but it also helps them lose, get a higher draft pick. Plus, if Hopkins doesn't want to go through a season of just complete loser, at this age of his career, then maybe they just come to a mutual agreement and they just let each other go. It's just better for both teams. But as far as where he stands, I have no idea at this point.
I mean, he's floating around there. He can sign anywhere he wants. So there's
Yeah, he's
always.
probably just kind of waiting until the best situation comes for him because he's in football shape. He's ready to go. So
I mean, there was a rumor of Houston that made me laugh out loud. There's no way that's happening. I mean, Buffalo seems like a good put him in the slot right there with those two guys on the outside. Make DeAndre Hopkins a slot. If he's lost a step, put him in the middle there. Get him on you're not gonna pay him Odell Beckham money. That would be stupid. But because he's making a ton of money this year, so he might take a lower cut to play for the Bills or the Chiefs.
I don't know if I've heard rumors where he says he doesn't want to take a lower price because if Odell Beckham's getting what 15 guaranteed million, I feel like he probably thinks he probably deserves that too. So that's probably what he's asking for. I don't know how many. I guess I'm sure he'll find some team that'll give him that, especially when it comes down to an injury. Somebody gives an injury, and
Yeah.
then he can pretty much ask for whatever he wants.
I mean, if he's asking for Odell money, I have a feeling he's gonna be on the same team Zeke's on right now. Would be my guess as we go. So I did put a thing on there. Whoever, if anybody, the first person to guess the correct team when he signs, I will send them a Courier's vinyl sticker to their address. So pop it on there. Any of the socials, it's on there. You can do it. The next one I'm keeping an eye on personally is Dalvin Cook. We'll see what happens. Right now, the rumor is they're holding out for a trade. Till you listen to this, he could have been traded. He could have been cut. Who knows? We actually got on the horn. We're recording a smidge earlier than usual just because of schedules and life and making it easier. But let's get into Dynasty. Both of us live and die for Dynasty. We're in too many Dynasty leagues. We're actually getting ready at the end of this week to have. Is it? I still have another one. Is this your last? No, we have a couple of Dynasty drafts because one team's dragging their butt. This one,
Oh
we had
yeah,
to add new players. We have a Dynasty auction draft coming up this Friday with a bunch of guys that we've been in leagues with. We actually, one of the new guys in the league is Forrest, who's a Fantasy Couriers listener. So I connected with him through the Couriers. He's our guy out in Colorado that I talked about earlier in the season.
yep.
So he's in on the league. He's being active, man. He's got a tough team. We might have to bring him in on one day and see about how he's rebuilding and going with that.
He dropped a lot of players.
Yeah, he didn't really drop any players. He just created space. Let's be honest there. But he's rolling. He's got the two best running backs. Hopefully he makes the best of those. But we're going to talk about quarterbacks today. Quarterbacks, looking at who are some good quarterbacks for Dynasty that we think could rise, could fall, some guys that we think are overrated. Then we're going to close out with a little this or that Dynasty style featuring JJ Wang and his questioning intuitiveness. So looking at favorite quarterbacks, I'm going to go through a couple of things here. You guys have to toss in if there's a guy's name you want to throw in. A name, I think, a name both of us have. And usually when you're talking about favorite quarterbacks for Dynasty, everybody really wants Pat Mahomes, right? He's the king of all kings in Dynasty.
Everybody. There's got a couple of guys everybody wants.
Yeah, there's that top tier of guys. You're looking at Mahomes, Hurts, and Allen are probably, and Burrow goes up and down between those two tiers. I actually just moved. This is my well, not a hot take. It's one spot. I just moved Jalen Hurts ahead of Josh Allen.
I guess depending on rushing yards, I guess it's definitely possible.
And that's what I took into account when because I was thinking about it and going into the year going, if Josh Allen says he's going to run less and pass more, that makes him less valuable. it makes me think about what I got to do with Lamar as well, because Lamar's value, he said what 3,200 yards is his biggest passing season. So unless
Yep.
magic changes, but he always runs for 800 to 1,000 yards, and that's where his money is. So if he starts passing, he better pass for 4,000 yards.
Yep.
So I mean, Lamar I got setting at 5, and the
All right.
rankings on our site.
Yeah, let's talk about your guy and save all these other guys for later. You keep bringing up all these guys. We'll already talk about them before it gets to later in the episode.
So a couple of favorite guys. A guy that I'm higher on than most would be Tua. I'm not going to lament him too long, but I'm here. I'm
Favorite
excited.
player, obviously.
I'm excited to hear the hype train coming on as I'll be listening to like NFL Live or some of the Total Access stuff. They are sort of where I am. With the weapons he has and the speed he has and the accuracy he has, all he's got to do is keep his head in a bubble and we're okay. But that's any player is one injury away. He just jiggled.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at Tua last year. He had some really, really big games, and he also had a lot of mediocre games. So is he the I don't know how to say that, but is he the boomer bust quarterback? He'll give you a 50-point game, but I mean, he's also just going to give you a lot of 15-point games too.
Well, those 15-point games usually he got knocked out on too. So we'll see how it pans. That should
Well, I
go.
mean, he had several of those games between the big games. So
So, but really, the guy that I was throwing in here as a guy that is one of my favorites going in that I really think could take the next step is Trevor Lawrence down in Jacksonville. I think that team's they played really well last year. I think they almost got a year ahead of themselves. They got solid backfield there with ETN. They're going to be built to go for a little bit. Their receivers, you got Christian Kirk, who surprised us. We were making fun of them for signing Christian Kirk to all that money. Then he just killed it. And then they basically robbed the Falcons, and they have Calvin Ridley. He hasn't played in 2 years, but every signs are pointing towards amazing. The resurgence of Evan Ingram. I mean, even Zay Jones played well on that team. So with all those weapons and Trevor Lawrence starting to look like the quarterback we thought he was, when basically all Dynasty guys were trying to, I mean, Scott and our league traded everything away just so he could draft Trevor Lawrence that year. Is this the year that he really, really makes a step? I like it a lot. He could be one of my favorites to make that step.
well, he better hope so. I mean, he better hope this is the year he takes the step, because this is probably, and everybody's eyes that step should have already have been taken. So if it doesn't take that step, maybe he's in that category of maybe he's like the bust quarterback. Maybe he's just your average 10 to 12 quarterback, because that's really all he's been so far. He has glimpses, but
I mean,
I feel like Trevor. I hope he took a step up, but he should have already taken that step if he was as good as they said he was.
I mean,
Like I said, I'm still all on board. I think he's going to have a great year, but if he doesn't have that great year, then there's probably conversation of maybe he's not the guy.
I think this year, because this year really is his second year. The Urban Meyer experiment, just that whole team was a wreck.
Well, maybe still
wreck.
third year, man.
So this is this. I consider this year 2 after having to survive that mess. And you saw the step last year, and the step as he jumped up. So he's one of my favorite players going into this year. I'll be talking about monitoring, seeing where he goes. As far as guys I'm looking at, we're talking about a guy that's a sleeper. I'm going to make you really happy, really, really happy, because I never thought I'd say this again. I'm keeping an eye on Trey Lance.
Yeah, of course.
Of course
Why
you
would
are.
you not?
Because I traded him away about a month ago on it was a 1 quarterback league, so I wasn't as worried about it. But all signs coming out of San Francisco is that he looks a freaking amazing. The guy that they traded their soul away for. And as I mentioned in our pre-show talking, what I always hear is what the best ability is availability. So Brock Purdy, he didn't get any
hold on.
first team reps.
Well, so do you really think you should be saying that Trey Lance's best ability is availability,
Right now,
considering?
yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Hey, keep talking. Just want to make
Well,
sure.
no, I'm going with it now because what he's getting is those quality off-season reps. Brock Purdy last year didn't necessarily get those off-season reps. Trey Lance got them all and then broke his ankle, broke his foot, whatever he broke, and he was out. So he was out, and Purdy was getting third-team reps and came in and played well. But if Trey Lance continues to kill it, he could be a guy that you could pull out of the woodworks, thinking that the draft capital, they've got to play him this year to see if they have it.
I think he's going to get his opportunity. If Purdy's not going to be ready until possibly week one, then Trey Lance has the ability to, you know, grab that spot. I'm a huge fan of Trey Lance. I love the guy, but I also understand that this could be the ultimate boomer bust guy. I mean, we love him because he runs the when he's been in the game, he's been kind of effective. You've seen like the spots, right?
Yeah.
He just needs the opportunity. He just needs to stop getting injured and just play for longer periods of time to improve. And then who knows? Look how long it took Justin Fields to get to that point. And he's still 23 years old. He's still younger than most quarterbacks
Just turned
coming
23
into the
o'clock.
league.
Yep.
So yeah, I understand a lot of people not liking Trey Lance. Totally get it. Not your cup of tea. Completely fine. Well, you know what? I love tea. And he's definitely my cup of tea. So I'll have him on all my teams, man.
I would say right now, would you say he's a guy to go see if you can buy low, grab him right now,
I,
throw him on the back end of your roster? Don't play for him to be your
yeah,
starter because it could kick you in the butt, but
yeah. Don't look at Trey Lance as your starter right now. Look at him as like a lottery ticket. But don't come to me thinking you're going to buy low because you're not getting him at all. So I kind of paid for him, and I'm fine with just keeping Trey Lance on my team for the rest of his career, just waiting for him to pop off. So
that's what I'm doing with half my teams because the guys are getting old. But a guy that I've had on boom, I've talked about it. I'm not going to elaborate into it too much, but I think this year is going to be the boom year for Kenny Pickett. It's year two,
I hope
obviously.
so. God, I
But
hope so.
Pickett he plays for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is like that team that you love to hate or you love. And no matter what we say, you said it last year, you said Pittsburgh's good. And it's top to bottom. They're just a well-run organization. And Kenny Pickett has weapons there. He's got the target monster Deontay Johnson. Maybe he'll score a touchdown this year. He's got a 3-down running back in the backfield. Supposedly they're talking about giving Warren some more touches. He looked really good in spells. He's got you got Odell Beckham Part 2, George Pickens on the other side if he stays healthy with a fancy catch and if he takes a step in the league. And he's got the Muth at tight end, the young rookie Washington who's going to be a blocker, so it's going to protect him more. And quietly, he's got a decent slot receiver in there, possibly, unless they put Deontay in there moving that. So an aging Allen Robinson to either decoy. And if they get a little bit out of Robinson, Pickett's could surprise some people because he is fallen. He is not a highly drafted quarterback, and he could boom up in there. I mean, Kenny Pickett right now is he's drafted in regular leagues. He's way down there.
Yeah, he's way down. I mean, he's like bottom third. I mean, he's not any. I don't think Kenny Pickett is really nobody's cup
23rd
of. Yeah, he's
quarterback.
really nobody's cup of tea either. I I like Kenny Pickett. I think people still see Kenny Pickett as coming into the draft. He still got that bad taste. You know, it was a bad quarterback draft, and they drafted him so high. And they still see the early season Kenny Pickett. They don't want to open their eyes maybe to the late season Kenny Pickett where he played better. He took a step from the first half to the second half. Maybe he can take that third step, and maybe he can compete to be that 12 to 15 type quarterbacks. I know there's a lot of quarterbacks I say can be that, but I mean, at this point, any of these quarterbacks can fall in that range. And Pittsburgh has always been good. They had a down year kind of last year. Look for them to bounce back because that's what Pittsburgh does. So keep them coming. I like Kenny Pickett.
Yeah. So if you had to guess who's going to have a better career, Trey Lance or Kenny Pickett?
I think. Ooh, well, I think.
I gave you an either or.
You know what? I'm going to still say. I'm still going to say Trey. I just like Trey Lance, man. I'm not going to. I mean, I think Kenny Pickett and with the Steelers organization, I think there's the ceiling isn't there for Kenny Pickett, but I think the consistency for him to be a good quarterback over a longer period of time is better. But hey, man, I love me some Trey Lance. I ain't even yet.
Yeah, I'd go Pickett for that reason, but he wouldn't. He'll never be a QB1. It's like what Roethlisberger that first year he was managing, but that's what they want out of their quarterback. And he'll probably have a year or two. He might have a QB1 year along the line, but he's going to be there a bit. They're going to roll with him. They're going to rock him, and they are going to see what they can do.
I think he can be very. I think this is pretty basic of a comparison, but I mean, be very Kirk Cousins-y. I mean, that's the kind of quarterback he can be. I mean, and I like me some Kirk Cousins, man. We'll talk about. I'm taking my own guys. But go ahead, yeah, keep going.
My next one's gonna be real quick because he said he's coming back later. My biggest bust of the year is my hot take because I it could be my disdain for the Jets. It could be the way they're run. It could be, hey, Aaron Rodgers is taking everybody with him to New York. I mean, I don't. My bust is based more upon where he's going to be drafted and picked because everybody's thinking the Jets are going to the Super Bowl. Um, and I mean, I think he got Garrett Wilson this year, but he brought everybody else with him. And Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall could take away from Aaron Rodgers. So
Yeah,
I just think he's going to be overdrafted and not worth what you pay. I mean, he's not going to be expensive, but I think there's other quarterbacks within that range you can probably get for better.
it's very possible. So I mean, since that's your last guy, I think we can start my segment right here. I talked about Aaron Rodgers for a second. Um, Definitely on the Jets bandwagon. I'm kind of liking the Jets. I love, Brees Hall. I'm a big fan of his. Newly acquired Garrett Wilson. I'm now a huge, huge Garrett Wilson fan. So,
Tell
I
them
mean,
what
if
you
I'm
gave
a
up for Garrett Wilson, and people can write in the notes what they think of this trade.
well, so I've been trying to get rid of Deontay Johnson for a while. Nobody seems to
I
like
wish I'd known
Deontay
that.
Johnson.
I'd taken him.
Yeah, nobody seems to like Deontay Johnson. I must have messaged all the guys that don't like Deontay Johnson because nobody seems to like him. So I was like, all right, I'm trying to get rid of Deontay Johnson. So who do I want? And first name come to mind was like Garrett Wilson. Seeing who had Garrett Wilson, I was like, oh, bummer. He's probably not going to give him up. So I was like, you know what? I got $400 worth of fab. I was like, hey man, I'll give you 250 and Deontay Johnson. He was like, nah, I want to hold on to Garrett Wilson. I was like, understand. How about I just give you all my fab and Deontay Johnson? He really didn't want Deontay Johnson either, but I was like, I'm giving you all my fab. Take Deontay Johnson, whatever. So I gave up $400, but but I got Garrett Wilson. I mean, I think Garrett will. Well, hopefully, I'm thinking Garrett Wilson is going to be great. This, like I said, I didn't have a Garrett Wilson, so I was like, you know what? Let me just jump out of this draft because several people have a lot of money. I'm gonna give this guy the money that he wants to be, the leader in the room, and I get Garrett Wilson. So that's that. So yeah. So my question to you is, if you were in a dynasty league, and you're still trying to win, are you taking Jordan Love or are you taking Aaron Rodgers?
If I'm trying to win, I still got to take Aaron Rodgers as much as I think he's going to be a bust based upon where people are going to try to grab him or keep him because I don't know what Jordan Love is. I didn't like Jordan Love coming in. Jordan Love's weapons, as much as I'm a Romeo Dobbs guy, most people are Christian Watson's people. Those are his receivers and the rookie who I'm losing my mind on right now. Think of Jalen. Was it Jalen? The rookie they
Oh
got. I'm brain fart on him, but who's he gonna throw to?
yeah, absolutely.
Uh, um,
Yeah, I mean they have a solid running game, so they might lean on that a lot more. The receivers, like you said, they're still
Jaden
skeptical.
Reed. Jaden Reed.
Yeah, and he Jordan Love did flash in a couple games. He's had several years to sit there and learn. So yeah, if I'm still trying to win, I think I still want Rodgers, but I still think there's something there with Jordan Love.
Now let's
So
say dynasty for long term, it's Jordan Love. Like
oh
that's
yeah,
if you look at my rankings, I have Jordan Love a handful of spots ahead of Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers is what 1, 2 years in New York, and that's it. So Jordan Love, at least you'll have him for a little bit longer. Is my thoughts within my dynasty rankings.
all right. All right, yeah, so pretty much agree on that one. So I'm moving over to I got two rookies last year. I think I know how you feel about one of them. I got Sam Howell and Desmond Ritter. Both of them low in QBs, both projected to be starters. They still got a lot to prove. The offenses, Eric Bieniemy and the Commanders, they have some really good wide receivers, a solid run game. But you know what? So does Arthur Smith and the Atlanta Falcons. They got some good receivers. Maybe we'll see. They should. They got hopefully a very, very good run game they can lean on. Sam Howell somehow went in the fifth round. Probably should have been higher, in my opinion. I'm a huge Sam Howell fan, also a Desmond Ritter fan. But where do you stand? Are you higher on Sam Howell or are you taking Desmond Ritter?
I'm higher on Sam Howell, though you almost convinced me to change my mind. And I'm gonna just rock B enemy because I mean we know the Commanders are a train wreck generally. They finally did something smart with getting Bieniemy in there, and I think it's Sam Howell as opposed to Desmond Ritter. I think Desmond Ritter has a better cast of characters as far as pass catchers. Like I like his. Oh no, I'm lying. Sam Howell.
Jahan Dotson and Terry
Yeah, you're
McLaurin.
right.
Then you throw Curtis Samuel on that. Pretty solid
I love Drake London. Drake London's one of my favorite.
receiving core. I think they're going to run.
Yeah, they're gonna. I mean, Drake
Yeah,
London's.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm sticking with Sam Howell. You are right. I'm sitting there looking at because I'm putting Pitts there, and I'm assuming he's going to jump in and do something. But Desmond Ritter, he's in
Look,
my rankings.
Pitts
He's
just
right there with Smith and Rogers and. Ugh.
yeah. I mean, I can see it. I mean, like I said, I'm a Sam Howell fan. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be better than most people think. Desmond Ritter, I like jury's still out. Not really sure. All right, so we're going to go to the top of the rankings here. Yeah, so I got two guys. One guy, one of my personal favorites. Love this guy. Got a lot invested. And then another guy is a guy that just signed a rather large contract.
You know who I'm
So we
looking.
got Lamar. So we got Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields. Look, you're trying to win this year. Would you rather go into the season with Justin Fields or are you still rolling Lamar Jackson?
I'm still rolling Lamar Jackson. Lamar
Are
Jackson.
you worried Lamar Jackson isn't going to run as much?
I am, but I'm also worried that Justin Fields never throws the ball. Like eventually, he's gonna have like Lamar Jackson at least threw
What?
for a little bit. Like
You're
Justin
right. He did.
last
He
year was
did. You're right. But
threw for
Fields
1,800
also.
yards last year.
Yeah, you're right.
He
Fields,
threw
but Fields
2,200 yards last year.
Fields also took a step from midfield, and his passing did get better in the second half of the season than in the first. So maybe he can just keep that trajectory. And if he's still getting 3,000 passing yards, which isn't a lot to ask for, it's not a whole lot.
For these
And
two
he's still,
guys, it is.
well, it is. So you're right. My bad. So and then he still gets that 1,000 yards. I think it's pretty much a wash here. I think they pretty much end up with the exact same thing.
No, I mean, I
Even
can
though
see them being
I'm
close. I'll
still,
have Lamar over Fields.
yeah, I will take Fields. I will take Fields over Lamar just because I am currently a Fields fanboy. So I've never been like a huge Lamar fan. I love Lamar. Never been a huge fan. So I'm still sticking with Fields. So it's good.
And
We got
long term as well, I have Lamar higher. Only right. I mean, Lamar is 5 and Fields is my 9. Only because Lamar has a 5-year contract.
absolutely.
Fields has what 3 left, something like that.
Yep.
So that's where I would put. I'm going with time right now is the difference, and there's a couple of guys in between those two guys that could throw a lot of yards.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we disagree on that one. That's good. So this is the last one I got. So I got Deshaun Watson. Look, you're trying to win this year. Deshaun Watson, didn't play all that great. And you got Kirk Cousins. Look, you're trying to win. Kirk Cousins was like the top 10, top number 6 quarterback, something crazy. So if you're trying to win, are you taking Kirk Cousins this year or you rolling with Deshaun Watson?
It depends. Do you play the lottery?
No, I mean, you're trying to win, man.
I almost traded for Deshaun Watson actually. Man,
So, I mean, look. I mean, if you got Pat Mahomes as your number one, you've got Watson and Cousins on your bench. Who are you starting?
that would almost be my I would we would always start Watson, but we should start Cousins. Is that how it usually is? Cousins. Well, I mean, we're all still remember that game. Didn't Cousins throw like 4 times in a game one time?
I mean, it's very possible, but
And we're all soured by that still years later.
I think we're all. I think there's a lot of people that are still sour on Deshaun Watson and realize that Kirk Cousins, whether you like him or not, still provides like top 10 value pretty much every year. His weapons, I feel like, got better at wide receiver with the addition of Addison, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, call me crazy. I think I'm taking Cousins here over Watson.
I'm close. I would probably still go Watson, but it's still banking on that old Houston talent. That's a place that if I had to throw my dice in, I'd probably throw DeAndre Hopkins here, just because it'd be the reunion.
It's possible.
Him and
Yeah,
Watson.
it's possible.
That would be my guess. It's one of the ones that's not been talked about as much. I think I'd still have to go with Watson.
Yeah.
It
It makes
feels
sense.
dirty
Like
though.
I said,
That's the problem. It feels dirty.
Yeah. I mean, we're playing Dynasty here. He is younger. The ceiling is there. We've seen it. But like I said, you just throw in the fact that hey, I'm trying to win this year. My team is set up to win. I think Kirk Cousins gives me a better chance than Deshaun Watson at this point.
And to be honest, if you're looking for the quarterback too, and you can only pick one, you're gonna pick Kirk Cousins because it comes to team makeup. You want the guy. I was listening to some guys talk about like that with tight ends. You want the guy that can just toe the line. You know that Kirk Cousins can get you at least what the above average quarterback week every week. So what 17, 18 points out of Kirk Cousins guaranteed. Deshaun Watson, based on last year, might not. So if you're in that contender team, you might wait an extra round or two, pick up or trade away something punsy for Kirk Cousins because he's probably cheap because we know he's not going to be around much longer. So, but because he's getting a little bit long in the tooth, and
Right.
I mean Dynasty they're 10 apart. I got Deshaun Watson still at 11 just because he's got. If you have Deshaun Watson on your team, he's your quarterback for the next 5 years. They cannot get
Oh,
out.
absolutely.
So you're going to have him on your team. But this year, I think
But like I say, I
lean
got,
your
you got
way, but I'm going to say Watson because
yeah, like I said, I'm gonna play
hope
Cousins
sprint
here. I might
eternal.
even try. I might even try to trade Watson. Just to start Cousins and see, I probably get a good
Oh,
bit that can
yeah.
help the rest out of my team and keeping both of these guys on the bench. One of these guys on the bench. Yeah, so that's it.
Here's my. I'll give you as we close out. I'll give the last part. I'll do here is I'll do 3 rounds of 5. You tell me what you think of my dynasty rankings because they're fluid. As I told you, I changed Jalen Hurts up a little bit. My top 5 dynasty quarterbacks: Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Might be able to throw Herbert in there, but I think I might be a little down on Herbert, so I'm not sure where that's standing yet. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably putting just I'm probably putting Justin Fields there at number 5 over Lamar Jackson just because I like Justin Fields. But yeah, it's fine.
And see, just this year, if you're doing a redraft, this year is Justin Herbert's year. He's just the Tyler Lockett of quarterbacks. So
Yep,
this year
yep.
he should be good. So he was terrible at and he depends totally on passing yards. So 6 is it's Trevor Lawrence, 7 is Justin Herbert, 8 is Tua. I didn't put him higher than I wanted to, and it's almost consensus. 9 is Justin Fields, and 10 is the often polarizing Dak Prescott.
Yeah, somehow Dak Prescott. I want to
Throw.
get rid of. I want to get rid of Dak Prescott so bad, but you just know that he's going to provide like that top 10 value. It's just and nobody likes Prescott. So yeah, consistent consensus might be number 8 for 2. I'm still not buying it. Justin Fields, of course, is a little higher for me, but yeah, I mean it's fine. I can see where it's at.
I mean, you got Tua probably about 15, right?
I got 2 at like 73 ish.
Okay. 11 through 15. This is where I have Watson. For Dynasty, not for this year, it's Kyler Murray. I'm still sort of a believer. He's going to be somewhere. He's young.
Oh, he's going to be somewhere. You're right.
In the bench. CJ Stroud, Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones. And then I have, I don't know what, I don't want to leave him here. I still don't believe in him. Anthony Richardson's my number 15 just because he can
Well,
run.
I mean,
Just
Anthony Richardson is looking like a machine up there in camp.
without pass.
CJ Stroud is out there making Davis Mills look like a fool. So I
That was
mean
hard.
these Bryce Young out there looking you didn't mention out there looking super small, standing next to
14.
all these gigantic guys. But yeah, I like CJ Stroud. I think still not a fan of Deshaun Watson. Probably have him a little lower. But like this is the range where it can just get crazy. This is the
Don't
range
get
where
messy at 11 for me.
Kenny Pickett might jump up into this range at some point. It's very, very possible. So, but yeah, I mean, it's very, very jumbled.
Yeah, all your guys were in like my next range. So we're looking like the guy that I think I'm gonna talk about probably most this summer that I think's gonna I really have I was high on him last year, but I think Sean Payton's gonna be the reason that I think Russell Wilson
Yeah.
get him cheap. He is gonna ball out with those receivers. If Williams, P. Ryan is going to be, if you can get P. Ryan, if you're playing best ball, throw him in late. If you can trade for P. Ryan, my problem is where I need him. My brother has him. There's no way he's trading him to me because he listens to us occasionally. I won't get him. But P. Ryan, I think, is going to have a great year.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I mean, we'll see. I'm definitely on board with Denver this year. I'm hoping. I'm a fan. Of course, we all know the love I have for Jerry Judy. Rooting for his success. I mean, if Russell Wilson plays better, Sean Payton makes the team better, how does Jerry Judy not be better? So I think I mean, yeah, I can talk about Jerry Judy for but it's not wide receiver day; it's Russell Wilson day. So yeah, I mean, I think Russell Wilson will be better. Like I said, 15 to 20. I think maybe, and it's even possible for
He
him
could be
to
top.
jump up. So I mean, I wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, I think 15 a great place for
That's Dynasty
Russell
too, 'cause he's
Wilson to add.
older. So I
Yeah,
mean,
he's older, but he's
redraft,
still
I'll probably have him higher in redraft.
yeah.
He could easily be like 10, 11 for me in redraft with some of those guys, depending where he falls. So that was
Yep.
quarterback week. If you got a chance, jump on, play some best ball with us. We like to poo poo around, throw some best ball picks out there, something to do. It's an 8 hour clock. You got plenty of time to go, but impart on us some wisdom as we wrap up quarterback week. JJ Way.
So not really wisdom. I guess it's more my opinion, but I don't know how much you keep up. I guess it always is. I don't know how much you've been keeping up with college football and Deion Sanders over at Colorado,
Yeah.
but I'm fascinating to what people think about how he's doing this. I mean, I think it's crazy. I think he's going to be an amazing coach for them. I think he's going to make Colorado really, really good. The way he's doing it, a lot of people don't have a problem with. But hey, I mean, if this is the rules, he wants his guys in there. If you don't want to play for Dion, go somewhere else, right? I mean, I think it's awesome. I would like to get people's opinion of where they think this is going to go because if you go back and look at it, everything Dion touches is pretty much just gold, right? It's always he always wins. So I just think it's going to be super interesting. I think he's going to kill it. I just want to know what people think. So as always, trust yourself and trust the process.